Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to UFC news, live events, basically just anything related to the UFC. So I kindly ask that if you enjoy the video, a friendly reminder to click the like button. If you want to become a part of this channel, feel free to click the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss out on anything, you want to stay up to date, feel free to click the notification bell. All of this really contributes to the growth of this channel. I would really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy this one. Main card predictions for UFC 314 starting right now. Starting off the main card in the light heavyweight division. Nikita Krylov, Dominic Reyes. Nikita is 11-7. Dominic Reyes is 8-4 inside of the UFC. Nikita made his debut all the way back in 2013. So a lot of experience for Nikita Krylov. Dominic Reyes went on a 6-fight winning streak to start his UFC career. Then, had that fight with John Jones. And then ended up losing that fight to John Jones. And went on a 3-fight losing streak afterwards, but he is currently on a 2-fight winning streak. And when looking at it, when looking how they stylistically match up against one another, honestly think Nikita Krylov wins this fight, and I'm picking Nikita Krylov to win this fight due to the fact that he has more ways to win this fight. He could win via unanimous decision just due to the fact that he is a better wrestler than Dominic Reyes. He is much more of a pressure fighter. He likes moving forward. He could have Dominic Reyes against the fence, have a clinch, and he could score much better. Secondly, he could knock Dominic Reyes out just due to the fact that we've seen Dominic's chin not be the same as it was when he started in the UFC, and he is susceptible to getting knocked out. We saw that in the Jan Blachowicz fight, we saw that in the Jiří Procházka fight, saw that in the Ryan Spann fight as well. And also Nikita Krylov can win via submission. We've seen him win via submission. He is a really big threat with regards to his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Saw him submit Ryan Spann, the same Ryan Spann that knocked out Dominic Reyes. Just think that Nikita Krylov has more roads to victory with regards to how they match up. Now, Nikita does blitz, and Dominic Reyes is good punching and striking off of his back foot. We saw Nikita blitz against Volkanovski. He got caught. However, if Volkan can't knock Nikita out, I don't see how Dominic can, because Volkanovski packs a lot of power on his punches. Nikita just basically walked through it and ended up taking Volkanovski down, and also had Volkan in trouble on the feet. Now, if that happens to Dominic Reyes, I think the fight's done. I'm picking Nikita Krylov to win. Can I say second round stoppage? It can honestly be a submission, or it can be a just knockout. Then heading into the next fight, featherweight division, highly anticipated fight, a fight that a lot of fans are looking forward to. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. Now, Bryce Mitchell's 8-2 inside of the UFC. Gene Silva's 4-0 inside of the UFC, and a lot of animosity between these guys. Bryce Mitchell basically said that Gene Silva has a legion of demons inside of him, and I don't know whether to take that seriously. I don't know whether Bryce is joking. I honestly don't think he's joking. However, he has said some things in the past, which I'm just gonna leave it at that. But with regards to their fighting styles, with regards to how they stylistically match up against each other, every single person that has been put in front of Gene Silva inside the UFC has had their bell rung and had their doors blasted off. I mean, the guy's striking is phenomenal, extremely methodical for a power puncher, and you won't see this a lot, but he's one of the very few power punchers that actually uses straight shots. We saw that in the Melsik Bagdasaryan fight. He is a phenomenal striker with a lot of power that translates whether he is featherweight, whether he is lightweight. And Bryce Mitchell is predominantly a wrestler, wants to have the fight playing out on the ground. He has really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, has a twister submission, which is insane. You don't see that a lot. And recently I've seen people pick Bryce Mitchell, and I can honestly see that. I can honestly see Bryce Mitchell winning this fight. Have it play out in a way that would favor Bryce, would basically just be, wearing on Gene Silva's gas tank by initiating and grappling exchanges, clinching exchanges. Have Gene Silva fight off the back foot just genuinely makes you more tired as the fight progresses. Shoot for takedowns, and Bryce is really good on the ground. Bryce could definitely end up submitting Gene Silva. However, the problem with this is, we saw Gene Silva against Charles Jourdain. Even though Charles isn't renowned for his wrestling, whenever he took Gene down, Gene just stood up. He just said, "I don't want to do this," and stood up. And Charles couldn't hold him down. And I think the same might apply with Bryce Mitchell. I think he would be able to take Gene Silva down. However, I think Silva would be able to stand up. Now, I don't think we'll ever see a knockout like the Emmett one, just due to the fact that everything had to happen the way it did for Bryce to get knocked out in that fashion. Don't see that happening again. However, I can definitely see Gene Silva catching him. I could see him catching him on an entry with an uppercut. I could see him off a break catching him the same way he did against Charles Jourdain, the same way he did against Drew Dober. The only reason Drew Dober didn't get knocked out is because he has that, that thing on his chin. So I'm picking Gene Silva to win this fight. I do honestly think it's via stoppage. However, it could go the distance. If it goes the distance, I'm leaning towards Bryce. I don't think it goes the distance. I think Gene Silva gets it done via knockout. I'm going to say second round. Then moving on to the next fight, also within the featherweight division, Yair Rodriguez taking on Patricia Pitbull in what will be Patricia's debut inside of the UFC. And Yair Rodriguez is currently 10-4 inside of the UFC. Now I'm just gonna give the names of the guys that Yair has lost to within the UFC. You ready? Frankie Edgar, Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, and Brian Ortega. In a fight where he had Brian Hurd, could have won that fight. Not Shihiro Suzuki. No, that is not the founder of the motorcycle company. That is the guy that recently beat Patricia Pitbull. Now, with all due respect to Mr. Suzuki, he is not on the level of the guys mentioned within the UFC, and that's the problem. Is it's a different level inside of the UFC. It's not the same level of competition you will face. I think Yair wins this fight. I'm picking Yair to win this fight due to the fact that I think he will be problematic for Patricia Pitbull with regards to his strikes. And even though he has been susceptible to takedowns, I think he genuinely improved in that area, because that's basically his biggest weakness. We saw it in the Volk fight, we saw it in the Ortega fight. I do think that he rectified a lot of those wrongs in training camp. I don't think Patricia would be able to take him down as effortlessly as Volk did. And I mean, that Volk is prime Volk. It's one of the best pressure fighters we've ever seen in the sport. So I'm picking Yair Rodriguez to win this fight. I think his kicks might be a problem. He will definitely target Patricia's body with regards to his kicks. His taekwondo is insane. I just genuinely think that he beats Patricia Pitbull. Seeing that Patricia is also at the latter end of his career, he's also somewhat old, especially for the featherweight division where guys are predominantly younger, and it plays a much bigger role just due to the speed, due to the cardio that is involved with that division. Yair gets it done. I can't see Patricia winning this fight. I genuinely don't think Patricia wins this fight. I think Yair is kicking, his striking, his punches, and he also throws from weird angles. It's not very easy to have a fighter in camp to mimic Yair Rodriguez's way of fighting. So I think Yair gets it done. I'm gonna say a unanimous decision. Then heading into the co-main event, we have Michael Chandler versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Now, Michael is 2-4 inside of his professional UFC career. Paddy Pimblett is 6-0. And honestly, feels like one of the easiest predictions to make. Just due to the fact, now I'm not saying this because I think Michael Chandler is a bum. I'm not saying this because I think Michael Chandler sucks. I am a Michael Chandler fan. I'm just saying that Michael Chandler doesn't win. Now, his top priority is not winning. It's to captivate the fans. We have seen in basically all of Michael Chandler's fights, apart from the last Charles Oliveira fight, we've seen him have his opponent in trouble and just fail to capitalize and finish the fight. We saw it in the first Charles Oliveira fight. We saw it in the Justin Gaethje fight, saw it in the Dustin Poirier fight on multiple occasions. But Michael just fails to execute whenever he has his opponents hurt. And I don't even think he'd be able to hurt Paddy Pimblett. Now that is a bold statement, but Paddy is extremely durable. We saw it in his fight against Jared Gordon where Paddy ate a plethora of clean shots, and it looked like it didn't bother him at all. Now obviously Michael Chandler's power and Jared Gordon's power is not, it's not comparable, but Paddy is genuinely durable. I think he'd be able to take Michael's shots. I think that Michael Chandler will end up wearing himself out the same way he did in his Justin Gaethje fight. Basically the same thing that he's done in all of his fights. And I do think it would get to the point where Michael is tired, maybe goes for a lazy takedown, attempts a lazy takedown, might get caught in a guillotine. I think honestly that Paddy could submit Michael Chandler. Now people say that, well, Oliveira couldn't, so yeah, but Dustin Poirier could. So I think Paddy Pimblett wins, and I'm gonna say Paddy wins via submission. I do think that this is gonna be a big win for Paddy Pimblett. Still be a massive Michael Chandler fan. As I previously mentioned, Michael can go on to lose 20 fights in a row, would still tune in to watch every single one of them. But with that being said, Paddy gets it done. I'm gonna go third round submission. Then heading into the main event, the highly anticipated main event, Alexander Volkanovski scheduled to fight Ilia Topuria. Ilia moves up to lightweight, vacates the belt. Now Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. I want to pick Volk so bad. I genuinely want to pick Volk. And it's not because I hate Diego Lopes. I just want to see Volk, make history, win the belt for the second time, and, cement himself as the best featherweight of all time. Because if he ends up winning, it is unanimous. It is irrefutable that Alexander Volkanovski is the best featherweight of all time. But I'm going to give you the resume of both fighters, and then you make your prediction in the comment section. So one is 13-3 inside of the UFC, the other one is 5-1 inside the UFC. The one is arguably the best of all time with regards to the featherweight division. The other one is a hungry up and coming featherweight who has looked really good inside of the UFC. The one is at the end of his career, the other one is basically in his prime, and the losses that this one has suffered has been diabolical. It has been one really close loss against one of the best lightweights of all time, and then the other two losses, they were devastating. It was via knockout both times, devastating knockout, and I think that's the problem. Now, could Volkanovski win this fight? Absolutely. If this fight goes past 2 rounds, if we see a third, I'm definitely picking Volkanovski to win this fight. Just due to the fact that Diego Lopes is susceptible to wearing himself out. We saw that in the Ortega fight, saw that in the Dan Ige fight. He does take his foot off the gas at the end of fights. And it's just due to the fact that his whole way of fighting, his style of fighting is very explosive, and it does take its toll on Diego Lopes, where he throws with malicious intent every single time, and it's just a very, very tough pace to sustain. So when this fight goes into the third, Volkanovski takes it. However, it is difficult to see this fight go to the third, just due to the fact that we've seen Volkanovski prior to the first Islam fight. We've seen Volkanovski against Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway, all of these guys, and he does duck under shots because he is a short guy for the division. However, we've always seen Volk with his chin up for the majority of striking exchanges, but we've never seen him get knocked out. We've never seen his opponent capitalize on that up until the Islam Makhachev fight, up until the Ilia Topuria fight, where we saw these guys take advantage of that. And I don't know whether Volk would be able to get that out of his system, keep his chin down, and just protect himself in that manner. And if Diego lands the same way he did against Brian Ortega, Volk is not standing up from that. Right? Brian Ortega has one of the best chins ever seen inside the UFC, where it feels like you need to hit him with a truck rather than with a hook to knock him out. And if Diego lands that same shot, lands the overhand with the left hook, if he catches Volk with that, then Volk is permanently, I think, retired. And that's the problem. I can see Volk pushing the pace. I could see Volk initiating and wrestling exchanges, even though knowing that Diego Lopes is really good off of his back with regards to submissions. I could see Volk pressure Diego, have him fight off the back foot, and just, you know, wear him out, have him up against the cage, clinch, shoot for takedowns. I could see that happening. However, I can see Diego catching Volk at any point within the first 2 rounds, and I don't know whether Volk survives that, to be honest. Even though it would be insane to see Volk win, I just think Diego he's just too good right now. He's just too good. And you know, picking Volk after seeing the Ilya fight, after seeing the Islam fight, it's tough, because he is at the end of his career. He's not getting better. It is impossible. Okay, whenever a fighter comes out and says he's had the best training camp that he's ever had, he feels, you don't trust him. Yeah, you can't trust him. Drew Dober said the same thing, lost in the first round for the very first exchange against Manuel Torres. Volk has said this when he fought Ilya, also said that he felt good, felt young, and then we saw what happened. Now, he did take a year off, which I think benefits Volk. Clear your mind, you know, gain that self-confidence back, and basically just, you know, take everything for what it is and try and eliminate the self-doubt. I think the year layoff is good and was good for Volkanovski. I just don't think that he beats Diego Lopes. I'll be rooting for Volk. I'm picking Diego Lopes to win this fight, and I'm gonna go first round knockout. I know it's not easy to say, but I think Diego Lopes knocks Volk out in the very first round. I would love to be wrong. However, I see that happening. And that is basically my predictions for the main card of UFC 314. Let me know in the comment section where I was wrong. Which predictions are you making with regards to the whole main card? I would really appreciate it. Have a beautiful day.